Happy Friday. Hello. Just bringing it up on my iPad so I can get going here. Oh, my iPad's freezing. What the heck? Okay. Hi, Karen. Have you been watching April today? April the giraffe? I have been. I checked on her right before, hey Catherine, right before I got on here. Okay, there we go. All right, I have a really pretty card to make today, and I will show you quickly what we are using. So we're going to use this floral frame stamp set. It's got some really pretty images in it, and I really like the font on these sentiments. And then also the coordinating foliage framelits dies. Now let me bring the stamps back in because am I getting this up here where you can see? Okay. So I want you to know on this set what cuts out what. So in the dies, you're going to get a die to cut out these two little groups of flowers and this label here, and then all the other dies are just dies on their own that don't cut anything out here. Now while this looks like it might cut that out, it does not. So but I'm using this one today, so you'll get to see what happens with that. So we're using that, and I love this. It's so pretty. Oh, Karen, April, I think that she's going to have that baby anytime. I really do. Isn't this gorgeous, you guys? I don't hardly ever see anybody playing with this, and it's so pretty. I'm going to play with it today. Okay, so that. And then this one, the subtle dynamic. Now on my practice one that I made, I didn't use this. And then I kind of was looking at it and thought, oh, it needs a little something, and this was just right for what I thought it needed. So we are using those. Now the colors I am using are from the Subtles collection. And see, I already embossed this piece, and I embossed the white. I'm not sure if you can see the texture on there. Makes it look like basil paper. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so, oh, this is, what color is this? Blushing Bride. Is that right? Yeah. Blushing Bride and Pear Pizzazz are the colors, and then of course Whisper White. And I've went ahead and done a base with a top fold. So there we have that. And I'm going to set those aside so I don't mess them up. And we're going to do some stamping first, and we are also going to do some embossing, heat embossing. So I've got the stamps on here, and I'm just using my MISTI. So whatever kind of stamp positioner you have, this technique requires a stamp positioner. So I'm going to go ahead and pay attention to how I'm putting the paper in here. I'm going to put that in there like that, and I'm just going to use some Flirty Flamingo ink on here. The color is really not that important. Not really, but probably just a lighter color. Not that this one's really light, but I'm not even going to press it that hard. Okay, so, and let me clean that off gently These are not the new cling, but I don't want them to move from where they are there, so I'm just being careful. Okay. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm using the Stampin' Blends, and these are alcohol markers if you haven't used them before. I'm using just the colorless blender. And then the other color I'm using is the light Flirty Flamingo. That's why I used the Flamingo ink pad, but again, it's not that big of a deal what color you stamp this with, I don't think. And I know you can't see anything there, but the reason why I'm doing the colorless blender first is because when you come back over with your color, it just lays it down so smooth and blends it in almost like watercolor. It really does make a difference. And it's just, yeah, it just kind of gives it a little bit of that watercolor effect than if I were to just go straight on with the marker. And I think I will do 2 real quick here and then get that on before that kind of dries. Now, the reason why I'm coloring this before I go back over and heat emboss, because if you are using alcohol markers, you cannot color over or around images that you have heat embossed with embossing powder. The alcohol in the markers melts your embossing and makes a big old mess. So I don't know if you've ever tried it. I learned the hard way. Yeah, it doesn't work. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to bring back in my Misty. And I'm going to ink up the stamps this time with Versamark. This technique, if you've never done it, I learned this a long time ago. It really, if you use black embossing powder too, it really makes things pop. Okay. So now, let me get this out of the way. And I am going to gold emboss these. Okay, let me heat these up. If you haven't ever made yourself, hey Jane, if you haven't ever made yourself an embossing board, it's just like matte board with tin foil over the top, and it works so well because it heats up from the bottom and the top that way. Plus you have a little something to lay it on while you're embossing so you don't burn your fingers or whatever your tabletop is. Gosh, it's so pretty here today, and I am happy about that. Okay, almost done. I have had my little embossing tray there forever. Forever. Okay, so now where'd my little dies go? Maybe I already, oh no, I haven't pulled them off of there yet. So I'm going to pull the little flower dies off and do that. But while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and pull this frame off and get that cut as well. And I'm going to cut that out of this Pear Pizzazz. So it's right behind me here. It won't take a minute or so. And actually, I am going to use some Post-it tape, even though I have magnets here on my platform. I don't want them jumping around. Yeah, I can't believe how you can get so addicted to watching that giraffe. And you're watching her basically doing, you know, giraffe stuff, chewing and chewing, and that's about it. Not much of anything else until the time comes, but I've been on there. There's been over 50,000 people on there at the same time watching. Okay, there's the little flowers. And I am just going to set these up here so I don't lose them. And the tape. This die also embosses, so like well, I'll show you after I cut it out. It's just lightly, but you can kind of see the texture there. Okay. So now we have those pieces. I'm going to use the Wishing You the Best greeting from the set, and I'm also going to emboss that in gold. Hopefully I get it on here where I want it. Okay, I just see a couple little specks on there that I don't want on there. I have a really cool brush that I bought one time at a stamp convention that helps brush away. Well, it really helps to scoop your embossing powder and glitter, whatever, back into the jars. It is Royal. And it's super, super soft, almost like a makeup brush or something. But I love that thing. I've had it for a long time. Okay, let me heat this up. Do you guys remember the first time you ever heat embossed anything? I mean, it's like magic. It was like, whoa, that is the coolest thing ever. I remember. It's what got me hooked on stamping. Okay, so I'm going to use a 2-inch circle punch and cut this out. And I'm going to have to trim it off just a tad bit here. Not a lot, but just a little bit. I don't have the cool circle punches from Stampin' Up! Yet, so I'm just making do with what I do have. Okay. There we go. Now, I am going to pop this up in the middle here of this. Kind of want it like that. So pretty. Okay. Now I'm going to use the little dimensionals, the little mini ones. Aren't those so cute? They're so tiny. And I'm just going to put them on the outside because this is going to overlap onto there. So you don't want to have dimensionals on top of where you've already popped something up. Does that make sense? Okay. Pull the backs off these tiny things. Did I get them? Yes. What I am going to do is I'm going to put just a touch of liquid glue. I don't know why when I said that it reminded me of The Incredible Shrinking Woman. Did you guys ever see that movie? Okay, and I am going to put these right about there. And I'm going to do the same thing with these. And, okay. Probably could use the bigger one. I'll put a little one there, and I will put a bigger one there. I'm going to put some glue up here. Okie dokie. So pretty. Okay. Now let me bring in this. So like I showed you in the beginning, I've already ran that through the what I the Subtle, what's it called? Subtle Dynamics embossing folder. Which side do I like? Yeah, okay. I don't think I really wanted to do that part first. I did not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it on here. And then I have this piece that I did in the ruffled embossing folder, and I'm going to cut this bottom ruffle so that it looks ruffly. Okay. Okay, and then I am going to just take Wink of Stella here, and just because I'm going to run it along this bottom little white piece and give it some sparkly down there. And now what I am going to do is take double-sided like tear and tape here, and I am going to hopefully get that even right along there. Roll that off. Bring this back in. Hopefully it won't get too stuck in there. Okay, bring on the sparkle. And then I am going to rub it good to burnish that glitter in to that tape. Don't do what Jana did and put your adhesive on the back first. But no worries, because like I showed you a minute ago, I have my awesome brush and I can clean up my mess. And I also have a Swiffer cloth at my desk, which also helps to clean up that glitter mess when you make it. Oh yes, I see I'm flipping it right on out of the tray. But that's what happens when you use glitter. It makes everything sparkly, including you. Okay. So there we go with the little sparkly trim. Okie dokie. Don't really need glitter up there. But what I do want to do is just give that another little piece across. Now I need more of these. Wishing you the best. And just in case there's not enough sparkly on here already, we need to do this. And there you have it. Thank you, Karen. I love that ruffled embossing folder, and here's the one that I did as my sample, and I know you probably can't see it, but I hadn't done the texture on there, and I just kind of liked it a little bit better with the texture. It looks really pretty when it's standing because you can see that shadow under the ruffle, and it defines it more. So that's that. If you would like to order from me this month, be sure you put in the March Hostess code here, and it's on the beginning at my website too. You'll find it there. That's how you find me. And thank you so much for joining me for another Friday Fun Day, you guys. I hope you have a great weekend. Do something fun. Enjoy the hopefully nice weather, and see you again next time. Thanks, Karen. Happy stamping.